Alright, this is another episode of the Ascendant SPINFOIL. First week impressions after the launch of Witch Queen. Spoiler content ahead. Again, this is just for fun within our clan. If you're not a Destiny nerd, you're not a fan of dark humor or crude humor, sit in place for you. Kindly move along. So before we launch into all the story mode stuff and everything else, let's close the loop real quick on weapon crafting. So now that we've all had a chance to play with it and push through it, and looking back on some of our earlier discussions, what we were hoping for, so on and so forth, what's everybody's initial impressions on that?
I love my new glaive.
Yeah, the glaive is very badass. I'm a little disappointed at the lack of Ascendant alloy, because so far I've gotten a maximum of 3, yet there's a quest that wants us to craft like 5 or 6 weapons that I do plan on using later, and I'm not finding anywhere to actually get them.
I think they release weekly.
Yeah.
So it's designed to take time.
From everything I've seen, the Ascendant alloy is you can buy one each week from Raoul. Then you have the reputation ones for almost everybody. Zavala, Shax, Drifter, I don't remember, I think Banshee as well. Now, whether or not that repeats after you reset, that remains to be seen. And hopefully it's one of those things that maybe when they roll out Grandmasters, it'll start dropping similar to the Ascendant shards.
Yeah. Well, I think really the only other complaint I had about it was the catalyst for Osteostriga, which is where my biggest issue with the alloy has come in, because you need 3 of them to get it. So it's like you have to wait like 3 weeks to actually get the catalyst if you make literally nothing else. But I mean, aside from that, it's awesome being able to unlock the perks that you want. You can delete basically every gun you get except for if you need light.
Yeah, I think that's why they're slow trickling the components.
Yeah.
But you don't want your vault to be just, useless overnight, right?
Yeah.
FYI, with the exception of that catalyst, the only other thing you need the Ascendant alloy for is if you're doing enhanced perks.
Yes. Yeah, and it's not really like that big of a deal. I've still been crafting pretty regularly, and I have some guns I still need to get my hands on.
We all have guns we still need to get our hands on.
Oh yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, they dropped a lot.
They did.
Personally, I'm overall happy with the system and the way it worked out. I think it's a good mix of what we all thought was coming, with a few things we didn't really expect. I like the aspect of being able to get the perks and knowing what levels everything unlocks at. So, my God roll rocket launcher I want for this season, I know I only have to take it to rank 6 to unlock all the perks that I want on it.
Yeah.
So in terms of planning and execution and everything else, that's also a big plus in my opinion. I do wish we had a little bit better feed, but I'm willing to give it time.
Oh yeah.
What about everybody else? Anybody else got anything? Any thoughts on the weapon crafting?
I like it. I think
it definitely helps cut down the FOMO.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
They need to rework on their distribution of the material, just because you're maxed out too early on some of the items that you need to craft. And I think that might cause some problems in the long run.
Yeah, believe it or not, the material I always have a hard time with is the base level material.
Yeah.
Yes. I've had that similar issue, and really the only way to get more of it that I have found is just completing more of the red weapons. The deep
Which at
sight.
least those are dropping fairly regularly, and they are a world drop.
That's true.
So you can get it off of any weapon so far as I've seen.
Yes. Yeah, which is a major plus.
Unfortunately, I'm starting to think that we'll probably won't see like raid weapons or anything like that show up in the queue. I think they're going to try to keep that as a unique incentive for running the raids.
Yeah.
But I do like having all the seasonal weapons in there and looking at the war table bonuses in terms of getting most of your recipes or patterns, I should say. It's going to be a pretty straightforward process.
Yeah.
Pierce?
No, nothing to say there.
Okay, I didn't know if you had some more you wanted to add or if you were done on that one.
Oh, shit.
Alright, so keeping the themes of weapons, let's move on and talk about everybody's favorite new toy, the glaive.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen 12 run anything but his glaive.
Not using it right now.
Same. I have probably 1,500 kills on it in the first week, at least.
Yeah, sounds right.
That and Osteostriga have been my go-to combo for just about everything right now.
Osteostriga is definitely a fun little toy.
It is.
So my only, I don't know, for me the shield on the glaive seems to be a little lacking.
But it
So-
would be a god weapon if it was perfect.
It depends on how you build the glaive, I've found, because mine is pretty strong. I take almost no damage, and if it's a full bar, it'll last for probably like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I don't know if that's necessarily what you're talking about, but I've had a lot of luck with the shield because I built the very first column, the one that gives you, 10 reload, 10 range, 10 whatever. My first column has plus 10 shield duration.
Yeah, it's not so much the duration, it's the actual damage.
I fucking tanked
Like shield
Sabathun's
efficiency?
supers.
Yeah. Yeah, we were tanking Sabathun's supers with the shield.
Maybe I just had a bad angle then.
It gets you out of a pinch for sure.
It does. It's not like foolproof. I've been killed while having it up for sure. It just if you're at the right angle, I think it works, but I also know it's not like a full bubble. It's like just the area in front of you.
Yeah,
So you may just have to be like full frontal or no dice.
yeah, it's something I gotta look up as the cone of influence on that because I've been having issues with. I think I got my shield up, and then something it's still in front of me. It's not like I'm, trying to block hits to my flank, but
Yeah. Well, are you getting, and I do not mean for this to sound like a stupid question, it's just a general inquiry because it took me a while to figure it out. Are you hitting stuff with the range shot before you try to use the shield?
oh, absolutely.
Okay. Because I found that it doesn't exist if you don't, so I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
and that
how
may
many
be
knew that.
that may be a possibility. Is that I'm just short selling myself on the range stuff, but anyways, not going to get too deep into the mechanics on that. Now the new weapon perks I think are shaping up really nice. I got some really good possibilities. Origin perks is going to add a whole another layer of complexity to all of this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you're not just worried about getting the God roll, but trying to pair it up with the right origin perk and everything else.
Yeah.
So that is going to be fun. I will say though, I am loving Land Tank.
Yeah, there's some serious perks out there.
Yeah,
There
that
is.
is one. That is one thing I'm very happy about is that they pretty much gave everything its own origin perk.
Yeah.
So you got origin perks for the world drops based on their foundry. You got origin perks for Vanguard. You got origin perks for Crucible. Even Nightfalls have their own origin perks.
Yeah.
The raid perks I'll be interested to see.
Yeah, it's probably going to work out similar to. This is just my opinion. Similar to what we've seen so far, and also with what they've been trying to do with the raid mods, in that it will be a something to help you out in the raid.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of utility this season with the perks.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
even know where to start. Like, it's like an overwhelming amount, and none of them appear to be useless.
No.
And that is very refreshing because we have had some stinkers in the past.
Right?
This is very true.
If anybody from Bungie ever on the off chance actually sees this, which I doubt, but hey, stranger things have happened. Bravo to the weapons team on this season.
Yeah.
You guys
Oh,
outdid
yeah.
yourselves.
Outdid
Yeah.
yourselves.
I mean,
Yeah.
there
Stone
are
on crate is nice. Just saying.
there are fully fleshed out single player first person shooters that the weapons aren't as fun as what we have this season.
Oh, dude.
It's very
Killer,
true.
no filler.
All without being busted. That's the important part. I mean, a little bit of
Right.
busted is fun, but let's be honest here.
Yeah. Well, there's like the Throne World weapons are probably the first set of weapons in, honestly, since most of Shattered Throne that I have enjoyed damn near every single weapon that I have gotten from that set. Like, the fusion rifle is absolutely amazing. The SMG is probably my favorite in the game right now, aside from Oxio. The scout rifle feels good. Everything that I've gotten from that set so far has been phenomenal. And I normally don't like SMGs, but I took that thing into Crucible pretty regularly when I was doing my Pinnacles.
Yeah,
That's a nice one.
I'm a big fan aesthetically of the seasonal weapons as opposed to the Throne World weapons,
Yes.
but that's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
All right. I think that about covers most of the high points of weapons. Anybody got any last minute items on that topic?
Heir apparent is a thing when doing campaign. Like, just calling it out there.
Oh, dude, Leviathan's breath for dealing with overload or unstops.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things.
What
Go
did I
ahead.
say?
After you.
Heir apparent got us through a couple of some of the harder missions. It was very effective.
I did not think of that, Tim.
Well,
When I did the mission under the fucking, the Europa one where you go under the pyramid, I did that on Legendary Solo with my Titan and it sucked. It was worse than the Locust one, in my opinion.
the one thing that I think is going to pay dividends or at least work out well. There's obviously going to be a meta build for this season, but so far the artifact is not pushing any weapon above anything else like it did with fusion rifles.
No.
Totally right.
Suppressive is 48%, I believe, damage.
So we've got a pretty open field in terms of play with what you like.
Yeah. Nobody's getting pushed into anything.
No. I've put on like 4 different rockets this season alone, just in the last week.
I love suppressive glaze.
Yes. Yes. Stun lock everything.
Dude, it's punishing.
It is.
I do have one short rant about the weapon system not being able to make orbs anymore. That is my only complaint about this fucking expansion. It's not a huge deal, but yeah, I know they put mods, but then it takes up 3 spots, and you can only use it for certain elements, and it's just very situational. I shouldn't have to redo an entire build just around making orbs. I have masterworked weapons. I think that the mods should have been introduced as an option and not a replacement.
Yeah, and hopefully that's something they address moving forward. I think, though, that Bungie is trying to move away from the charged with light builds and push more into the well builds. We'll see how that plays out, and I imagine at some point we're probably going to see a new combat style set start rolling out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if they dropped wells, I mean, I feel like the stat increase is not worth all those enhancement cores, because it's like, what, 18, 19?
It's 15 for a full weapon
15.
upgrade. But
Yeah,
still, I
a
have
lot.
to agree on that.
I mean,
So I have some insight on this that I would like to share for posterity, if nothing else.
Okay.
So part of the reason that the guns no longer generate orbs themselves, which cannot be undone, by the way, there's no going back, is because the ability to generate those orbs maxed out the gun's memory, so to speak, its capability, right? So in a very real sense, what you did was trade the possibility to create orbs for basically weapon crafting and origin traits and extra perks and all that other fun shit. And on top of all of that, they've gradually started. Okay, all of y'all have been grinding Destiny long enough. You remember back in the day, there would just be orbs as far as the eye could see. You would throw a super, pick up orbs, have another super, throw that one, and then pick up enough orbs to have another one. You remember all that crazy shit?
oh yeah.
That eats memory. Like, that's not for free, right? So
Yeah.
it just kind of tanks the operate. Like, I don't know. I'm not a game dev, but you all are smart enough to know what I'm talking about, right?
The glass couldn't fit any more fucking liquid in it. They had
So I don't think they're gonna completely do away with charged with light builds, but I think moving away from it has opened newer, better doors.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I think I've been using the wells a lot more recently. Like my warlock right now, I don't think has a single charged with light mod on it. Which is obviously on purpose because I like them better for the build that I have on, but I've been leaning that way anyway, just because they seem to work a little better most of the time than the charged with light, especially since they affect all abilities and not just the super.
Yeah, it's a question of trade-off, though, because you do have a lot of really good mods under the charged with light, and it was more of a centralized, okay, I kill stuff, I get orb give me stack, which I then use for ability.
Yeah.
Whereas don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's a little more involved to get a functional and balanced well-built going.
Yeah.
I have something for you guys, briefly. I'm not going to elaborate because this is not a build video, but we can talk about this later. Currently, what I have set up on my Hunter, I generate rainbow wells for everyone.
Yeah.
I've been picking them up. It's been awesome.
It has been.
All right.
Theory crafting, right? That's just support. You can run whatever crazy mods you want because I'm making all of them.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go down that rabbit hole too far, because Brandon is right, we're not here at Theorycraft, although his insight is always appreciated because
These guys
can't
Okay,
no one person keep track of all of it.
if I may, I mean, I'm in combat right now. I'm about to mute again, but we need to talk about what the fuck is on the tip of everyone's tongue, what everybody wants to talk about. I know y'all probably talked about it amongst yourselves. I can't. But what's the end? Talk about the end of the cutscene. Like,
Oh my god, that is the witness.
Okay, so Brains, I
No,
appreciate
no.
that. That's actually where we were going to go next. I was trying to get all the little stuff out of the way before we jump into the topic
I don't think that's
that's
the
going to
witness.
have everybody
So
joygasming.
the voice is the exact same as when it was doing the cutscene where it talked about capturing the siblings before the traveler did. It's the exact same voice.
And
And
Sabathun,
Destiny's completely capable of planting eggs like that, but they're also pretty good at lying about stuff like that and being like, "Oh, guess what?
I mean, they
I
are,
got that."
but
I think they made a big reveal and are transitioning to they're transitioning out of that light versus darkness and they're transitioning to a whole new antagonist. Sabathun even said herself, "You can deal with them," and that's the next cutscene.
yeah, if you, I
Well,
was watching some of the older Ascendant spinfoils, and I was talking about how what I wanted most out of Witch Queen was that moment, like Shadow Keep. You know, you come around the corner, there's a fucking pyramid under the moon. Oh shit! You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That was that moment for me in Witch Queen when you actually see the witness. Like it's not just hype. There's payoff. Like this is
yeah,
what's coming.
oh, absolutely.
that's
Well,
that's
I still
100% the
think it's
way it
just
felt
like
for me.
a lackey for the witness, like a witness priest or some shit.
we
So
shall see.
I watched a lot of stuff about this. I don't want to ramble too much and take up too much time, but you got to remember the darkness is formless.
As is
Yep.
light.
That's kind of where like the whole head thing came in, right?
That's why I'm thinking the witness is.
That's why
I think
he's
that's just a
so
lackey.
skinny and liquidy, right?
The witness is not the dark. The witness, as far as I understand, is the equivalent to the traveler.
Right. And the traveler
Yes.
doesn't embody the light. It's an agent of
However,
the sky, not the sky
however,
itself.
if you cut off the traveler, you've effectively cut the light off at the knees in terms of its ability to interact with this reality.
Yeah,
And Sabathun does say that the witness gives the darkness a nasty form. And so
Where's the
what we're
record
seeing
book?
is a result of the witness and how he's using the darkness.
Well, it's a common trope in a lot of sci-fi, and you can see it in a lot of the really classic stuff, where the idea of the yin and the yang, you have the two people left behind to guide or shepherd the younger races, and they both go to the extreme. And it's up to the younger races to rediscover the balance, which, piggybacking off of what Fierce pointed out earlier, I feel the reason that we are starting to get answers and things are starting to be pieced together and we're getting these reveals and the major players are coming forward is, you got to remember, this is all building to the final shape, which is supposed to be, you know, if you buy into what the hives say, the final shape is what's left when everything else has been destroyed. The pinnacle life form, for lack of a better way of putting it.
yeah.
So the hive thought the sword logic was going to take them to be the final shape, and if I recall correctly, it's actually referenced in the Book of Sorrows once or twice.
It may be.
So, seeing that that is the title of the final expansion of the Light and Dark saga, make of that what you will. But I think Brains brought up some really good points in that I think what we are going to see long term, and Sonic, you as well, I think what we're going to see long term is get rid of the Traveler, get rid of the Witness. We start interfacing with the light and dark, and for lack of a better way of putting it, ascend to a new type of life closer to what the Awoken have done.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely fits.
But that's just what I'm making of the various pieces out there. We got, 2 or 3 years of all this left, so God only knows.
Yeah. There's
Space for twists.
plenty of room for them to impart some fuckery.
Dude, Sabbath
Oh.
potentially turning into an ally? What the fuck?
Yeah, called that one.
Yeah.
I think that's on the table. You guys ready to launch again? I changed it a little bit. I have unstop, and I didn't have barrier last time because I forgot. Whatever.
I'm changing one
I'm
thing
good.
and then I'm good.
All
But
right. Yeah, I think
no,
by Lightfall, like she's gonna be like she's already been.
Like hanging out in the tower with the permission slip.
If you want to say it poetically, she's one of the Traveler's children now. Whatever other fucked up shit is going on now, the Traveler has
It's
chosen
true.
her.
It's true.
Yeah.
well, that ties back into the Traveler was going to choose the Krill previously.
Right.
That,
All
in
right,
my
I'm good.
opinion, was a reveal just as big as the Witness. That key detail left out of the Books of Sorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Mysteriously.
Yeah, well, shit when they did that, man.
Well, they're full of
Everything we've
lies. They
known
even
for
say
all
they
this
say so
time.
themselves.
It was all a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's starting to see the Traveler for what it really is. The Traveler reminds me of a kid that's like, nah, 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 you suck. But then when you start walking towards him, he runs into the house, Mommy! Like, he
Yeah.
just, I don't know, coward. He just
Part is the
abandons
chase,
everybody.
right? The flower game, right?
Yeah.
Why did
Cat and mouse.
why did the darkness start chasing the Traveler?
Because it was supposed to be a balance between the two.
Mm.
And the witness in the end clip says, "No more death, no more life."
Yeah.
It seems to
Yeah.
be he wants to remake everything.
He wants to end the game.
Yeah, like no more killing, but yet no more reviving. You know what I mean? Like, just let shit be.
Yeah.
No,
Children
I
of
think
soul cry out.
no, I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to end life in the universe. I think this goes back to it's an old
Like-
lore entry, the gardener and the what's the other one there, Brains? I can always forget. Winnower.
Yeah, Gardner and Winnower. I think
So
that was lore around the era of Garden of Salvation, and it was when they first really started talking to us about the flower game, or this maybe was around Rivals or something.
yeah, I'm not sure when it came out, but definitely, and I don't recall it enough to really do it justice, so I'm just not even going to try. I will simply say check out Ishtar Collective. I'll read up on it more since it's becoming more pertinent, so I can at least speak intelligently on it in the future. Because the basic gist is there were rules to the game, and then the rules started getting broken.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It also, something else that I had been thinking on kind of pertaining to this whole situation is, and I mentioned it to Payne last night, but with the Traveler taking Imaru at the end of the campaign, which, for all intents and purposes, that cutscene I am 100% convinced that the Traveler took Imaru with him to protect him.
Oh, 100%.
So with that, it sort of leads more credence to what me and Jay had been talking about, in that the Traveler could be starting to see us as an enemy, or starting to maybe feel like it made the wrong choice, because in everything that happened, the Traveler did choose Savathun and the Hive for whatever reason, which for me, I believe that they were worthy before they chose the Deep. However they chose the Deep, I am on the opinion that the Traveler was 100% going to choose the Hive and to give them the light like they did with the Fallen. And when, when the Witness came to them, it moved on because it didn't want to deal with the battle of dealing with the dark. And now that, Savathun was free of the Witness's influence for that brief moment, it was able to actually do what it had planned to do in the first place and give her the light. And we've been killing her guardians, and we killed her, or at least killed her body. And it's like, what the fuck, guys? Like, I chose them, why the fuck are you killing them? Like, stop.
Well, the Traveler, if it does have the wide vision everybody claims it does, should understand that, one, we had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
But I think it's less about worthiness and more about the Traveler trying to win the game and stay alive. And the reason I say that is if the Traveler thought we were unworthy, it would just strip us of the light. It would deuce the hell out like it did with the Fallen and numerous other species before it ever came to us.
100%, because
Yeah.
it was about to choose Savathun, and that's why the Witness intervened, took them before it could take Savathun and the sisters. So yeah, I agree with that. We're all just pawns.
Yeah.
I just had an idea while y'all were talking. I think
Hmm.
they showed the Traveler in the sky. Well, first of all, are you familiar with the Zizergy at all?
Zizergy, no.
No.
Or at least
So,
not by that name.
yeah, you know what it is. I know you do, just not by that name. Yeah. So when the darkness or the Witness was talking to Savathun about, it will tell them the great lie of about a great tragedy, right?
Yeah. The Cataclysm.
That's the Zizergy. It was
The
a
God
god
wave.
wave that would
God
wipe
wave.
all life from the planet. It was something ridiculous, X number of moons all in a line that would
52.
completely fuck the gravity on the planet. Okay, so maybe that had something to do with the lie. The way they portray this Traveler in the sky in the cutscene, it looks like a moon
True.
and not an alien demigod savior.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
They had
Oh, I
52
thought that was the
moons.
Traveler in the sky.
It is.
it is.
Oh,
But what he's saying is the way they portrayed it, the Hive,
Oh,
not
I see
knowing
what
it
you're
was
saying.
the Traveler, could have thought that it was what
For
they
sure.
prophesied would fuck up the planet.
I mean, I guess it
Well-
did happen, right? So, like, the god
Yeah.
wave did happen or something, right?
Well, according
I
to
don't
the Books
remember.
of Sorrow, the God Wave did happen.
Yeah, that's
Now,
May or may not be accurate.
may or may not be accurate, or it may have happened just not for the reasons that the Hive were led to believe.
Yeah.
So a lot of variables in there. You know, Bungie loves using the whole unreliable narrator trope, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which even in the new lore book they did that, where if you read through it, which I need to spend some time in raid secrets to try to figure out if anybody else has picked up on that. The numbers hidden in the lore entries.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, I saw some of those. I went through it, I think, last night, and it definitely feels off.
Everybody online said it was not to be trusted.
Oh yeah.
Well, at the end of the lore book, it says it's not to be trusted.
Straight up.
So the whole thing about Osiris being like, yeah, just put me down, and yeah, be ready to kill Eris Morn, none of that is trustworthy.
No.
The whole, and you know, the Cabal finding a second Osiris. So we're still very much playing the game of misdirection, which, you know,
Oh, deeply.
Leopard doesn't change its spots. Even in the Altar of Reflections, while it is giving us hints of things, they're still not giving us straight answers.
No, because even the ones that mention two are true, two are false, there's really no way to tell, and the ones that could give credence to any of those being true, for example, there's one that mentions the Taken King will return, and then there's another one that I did today where it said that she had had a conversation with Oryx and that he is always happy to die, implying that he has returned before. That could 100% be a false lead.
Well,
There's no way to really
Oryx
know.
believe
if
it
it's
has
true.
died.
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm not saying that he hasn't. I'm saying that that's not necessarily a confirmation that he will come back this time.
Well, the big difference is all the times in the past when Oryx has been killed, because Oryx has been killed by Xivu Arath and, you know, Savathun multiple times. He's killed them multiple times. Again, going back to the
True
books.
deaths and brought them back.
Again, going back into the Book of Sorrows, supposedly to deal with that Federation, which I'm going to have to look up their damn name. The Hive were actually deadlocked. So their solution was Oryx killed Savathun and Xivu Arath to increase his power level, and then had the strength to finish the fight, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but the big difference though is we killed him in his throne world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, you know, from what I understand, that's normally worse than if they were just out in the
Permanent
open.
death.
That's
The only way
supposed
to
to be a
kill him.
final death.
Yeah.
Hence, we
But
took Sabathun to the throne
he
world.
did kill his two sisters in their throne world and was able to bring them back.
Yeah.
Yes, he did some form. Oh well, that's the other thing too. Nokris is running around on the loose
Yeah.
too.
Yes, he is. I'm waiting
about to
for
bring
his
it up.
ass to come back, especially with Mars being here. We're gonna see him again. Probably sooner rather than later.
Maybe they do a year one throwback, like this season where we deal with Rasputin. He's back too.
Yeah. That would be cool.
So two of those truths and lies, those are apparent, right? Like Mars, fucking Io Titan, they're not in her care. They're in the Witness's care. The Witness did return Mars, so we know those two. The Oryx will come back, and you will soon have the power to move great worlds. Those two are questionable. All I know, Oryx was consumed. I believe that was his worm on Titan, and the Titan is now with the Witness. So,
Well,
go either way.
don't be so quick to discard them, because again, we say it's obvious that Savathun doesn't have the other planets in her care, but it has been established that she had the magic to move things between realities.
Yeah, with the Traveler, she
Yeah.
legitimately removed it from the last city and put it into her throne world.
And hasn't she tricked the Witness before?
Yes.
Bro,
And
She had
that
been
was
spending.
that was the next point I was going to bring up. Is there's a lot of variables at play now, such as the worm revealing that Savathun is the reason humanity survived the collapse.
Yeah.
Wait.
True.
The worm specified, not the reason, a reason.
A reason, yes. There were multiple things that is a true statement, such as us getting, in my opinion, such as us getting ghosts, because I honestly do think that we probably wouldn't have been able to rebuild to the degree that we have with all of the adversaries we've been facing if it wasn't for, you know, handy dandy res.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, when you've got immortal soldiers, that tends to help a little bit.
Just a little bit.
That's part of the reason why the Great Disaster was such a disaster, is that was literally millennia of combat experience wiped out in one mission.
Yeah.
Not a millennia, multiple millennia.
Yeah.
Because if you go back into some of the earlier lore, for example, the Crucible, its original purpose was for settling grudges and, you know, kind of doing your thing. Now it's a training exercise because, you know, all the Guardians, most of the Guardians, I should say, that were alive during the Dark Ages are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Permadeath by hive magic.
Or, and let's be honest here, not just the Hive, freaking
We killed a
Rasputin.
few of our own.
Indirectly, the witness also, because I guess this is who really has control of the Taken.
Yeah.
although
at
apparently,
this point.
well, no, I think the witness is the source of Oryx being able to make the Taken.
Oh.
Or to
for sure.
Well, he didn't make them. Oryx did not make the Taken. He was given the ability to control them, or to control the power, something like
Yeah.
that.
He took the power.
There's some vague tidbit I kind of remember. They said
He
something
was
about
given
that.
the ability to take and to control the Taken. If I remember the tidbit you're referring to correctly, they make the statement of he did not create the power, he was gifted the power.
Yeah.
Or
'cause-
he's not their original master or something.
Yeah,
Right.
because Savathun mentioned about him making the tablet in the strike, I believe.
Well,
Somewhere
that's
around
also,
that time.
they flat out admit that, again, going back to the Books of Sorrow, where it says that after killing the worm god of secrets, and it's killing me, I can't remember his name, but after
Akka?
killing the high, that sounds right.
Akka,
Akka
yeah,
or
sounds
Yule?
right.
No, Yule's still alive, I think.
Yeah, Akka was the worm he killed.
So after
Well,
killing
possibly,
Akka, he then hewed the tablets of ruin, which he used to transverse and commune with the deep, and came back with the ability to create and control the Taken.
Or about there, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
So it even says he did not discover or create this power. It was always he went and spoke with somebody and got the power.
Which he wasn't powerful enough to have that power until he killed a worm god.
Yeah.
Right.
So even
Because
without
two
his
things-
shit, we're as powerful as he was. Far beyond, I would imagine.
Yeah, so two things to take from that is one, not only did he get the strength from the worm god, but he chose that worm god specifically for the knowledge it kept. So God only knows what else was involved in all of that.
There's no telling.
But I'm really excited because, you know, we're starting to get big reveals. There's still twists and turns. That's the benefit of the unreliable narrator, you know, method of storytelling, though, is they can go back and anything that they've previously written in the lore, it's like, well, you know, what really happened.
Yeah. It's like, oh, surprise, we were showing you this guy while playing the voice of the witness, but he's not actually the witness. Like
Or
that
the
type
entire time you're doing presage and Osiris is talking to you. That was
Totally,
Savathun
right?
talking to you.
shit. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what
Which,
really got me on the bandwagon that Savathun was going to be not killed, but redeemed, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Okay,
yeah.
I got a question.
Hmm.
Now that we got Segura back, why the fuck isn't Osiris up talking?
No, we have her ghost shell. Segura is
Yeah.
still dead.
Yes.
So
So we
basically,
gotta
what we
take
did,
her to the Traveler and see if he'll do some magic for us?
I think Segura is perma-gone.
I think when
Yeah.
a ghost dies, it dies.
Yeah.
I don't know that there is a way to bring it. Now, granted, the Traveler could potentially grant Osiris a new ghost, but I don't really see that happening. It seems too methodical that they would take his ghost.
See, that's where it gets kind of weird, though, because everybody's like, oh, well, the Traveler could grant, but
Travelers isn't
theoretically,
great. He makes
the
ghosts
ghosts,
go fetch.
yeah, the ghosts pick their own owners.
Yeah.
They're drawn
Like
to
another
them.
ghost would have to pick Osiris.
Yeah, they seem
Well-
to already know.
That's the thing though, is like the ghosts are made specifically for one person.
That is not
They-
true.
No.
Oh.
It seems like it, but
That's,
these ghosts
yeah, that's the way
went
all
and
of them
chose
have
high.
been.
And they were
Well-
wanderers. They specifically said they were wanderers.
I will have to find the lore entry, but there is a specific lore entry. I'm wanting to say it's Ghost Stories or something, where they talk about they killed a risen during the Dark Ages, and the ghost was like, straight up, fuck that dude.
Wow.
Yep.
And
A
abandoned
ghost
him.
can get sick and he can just leave.
And when they were like, well, if he's such a bad person, why did you pick him? The ghost said something to the effect of, well, I needed somebody strong. I needed a warrior.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I knew that they could, you know, just straight up refuse to respawn their people, because that's basically Finch's entire premise.
Well,
is that he
oh.
just
this
isn't-
became a topic around the Forsaken era about whether or
Okay.
not your ghost would leave you if you went too far on your whatever revenge rampage. Rampage!
Yeah. Rampage.
Like the concept was floated that if you went too far, your ghost could conceivably leave you.
Son of a. Yeah.
Contact Destiny servers.
Well, that's another interesting, going back into your favorite story of Dredgen Yor and the man with the golden gun.
Yeah.
It is heavily implied that, fill in the names for me because it's been a hot minute. Not the man with the golden gun, but the first guy, the guy that had last word.
Jaren Ward, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
It is heavily implied that Jaren's Ward's ghost bonded to the man with the golden gun.
Oh, Shin Malfer.
Yeah. Because at no point do they talk about, and you know, it could just be that they didn't fill in that detail, but between the time of the death and Shin Malfer using the golden gun, there's no point to my knowledge where they talk about him getting his own ghost. And the original ghost is still following him around, to my knowledge, when he squares off against Dredgen Yor. So I'm going to go back and reread that story just to refresh myself on that, but in my opinion, there's enough lore entries out there to support the theory that not only do the ghosts pick their owners, but they can ditch them too, and that the idea of there's one specific guardian for every ghost is a modern thing that ghosts have developed over time.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's stories in the lore about ghosts that have been waiting and wandering and waiting and wandering alone, watching other ghosts have a guardian and all that cool shit. And I think a lot of these are the ones we lost to whatever, the Hive, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
They
a couple
gave-
of
they
lore entries this
gave 'em
season
something to
talking
believe in.
about. Well, there's a couple of lore entries this season talking about a whole group of ghosts without guardians that all they do is wandering around together looking and hoping. That's why I say I don't know how best to phrase all this, because the two points of view contradict each other. Pulled pork, for example, perfect example. Specifically mentioned as wandering around trying to find his guardian forever, and then bonds with Uldren Sov and becomes Glint.
Yeah.
So maybe the early ghosts weren't didn't have the higher level cognitive facilities.
There's
That's the
so
only
much about
thing
the
I
ghosts
can
we don't
think.
know.
Yeah. Well, there's
Oh,
been
man.
all kinds of fan theory on this. Like, for example, the idea got floated for a while there about whether or not the reses that we get work like that one Rick and Morty episode where you're just really pulling another guy from a similar timeline where he survived.
That's
I love that episode.
I do too.
We have 9 minutes.
All right.
That went
So,
fast.
yeah,
Yeah,
time
dude.
flies when you're having fun. So I guess we'll
Oh,
go ahead
yeah.
and put a bow on this one. I think we
Yeah.
pretty much hit all the high points. Anybody got any last minute items that they wanted to query about or discuss that we didn't get to?
I just
One,
got one.
I got one
Props to
quick thing.
Bungie. Great job. Mind blown. Better than anticipated. Like, I think they did wonderful, and that's my 2 cents.
Fair. Brains?
This is Witch Queen is everything I expected, and then they surpassed it, which was very unexpected. Uh, I'll keep this to the lore wise though. There is a lot going on behind the scenes. Like we hit the high notes, but there is so much going on right now.
Yeah, like Marasov and her shitty ass.
She's
Right?
gonna take a
Right.
worm. What?
Yeah.
I know. Like,
I'm sorry.
what else would you like?
She's She's
Oh,
going
wait.
to What's the word?
No.
Cohabitate and
Did
whatever.
you guys do the exotic mission?
I did. Brains, I don't think has yet.
Ah, okay.
Wait,
Okay.
which one?
The
Oh no!
parasite.
Oh yeah, I got Parasite. Never mind. That's right.
I was
It's
gonna
inside
say
the
she
gun.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, the fetus suit.
But
I actually
still,
love that
just
gun.
the idea
pretty darn good, eh?
behind the idea behind her, like I believed her up until she put it into the gun. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get evil, Mara." Okay.
Well, she
Great.
She's already
shared her
evil.
story about
She is.
the prophecy that she had received about what happens to her, with
Yeah.
specifically the witness. So she's, she got something going on we don't know about,
Yeah.
and she's had contention plans for every one of us.
Well, that's just good planning.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's to
Batman
her
is just
to be
I mean,
protected.
Batman did that for the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canonically. Right. So, not to get
All right.
sidetracked, yes, let's start wrapping it up. So, I mean, how do you want to do this? What do you want to see moving forward? One quick thing I'll say, I guess I'll start, is that there is so much happening now and things feel like they're moving faster. I hope that they keep this momentum, God forbid, throughout the whole year, where every week it's just like, oh shit, this is happening, like all this crazy stuff. Whether it's the year long story arc or the seasonal stuff, like the fact that they're intertwined is fantastic, and it's a great opportunity. I'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.
Agreed.
I think expecting every week is probably a bit much, but I agree with you. I do hope they keep the momentum going forward and start wrapping up threads because there's a lot of loose threads out there that need to start coming together.
Yeah. The one thing I think that I'm most excited about for this week, which I actually tomorrow need to go do, I want to know what the fuck kind of information we're gonna get from this light bearer in the seasonal quest line doing the psyops battles. I want to know what the fuck's going on inside his head.
Nothing good.
No, but I'm the fact that we are going into, for all intents and purposes, psychological warfare with the Hive is pretty fucking exciting.
All right. Anybody else? All right. I will say this in closing then. For those that have not looked at it before, go back. You can find it online. Take a look at the original vision and story arc that Bungie had in mind for Destiny 1. And I think what you'll see is a lot of parallels there, and I think that's going to predict what happens going forward.
Okay.
To the point of Rasputin was originally an exo that wound up on the Dreadnought that we had to go save. There was a light bearer named Crow that was out on the fringes that we could build faction with. Yeah, definitely take a look at that, should you so desire.
Definitely
Okay.
will check that out.
All right, then. Well, I think that wraps everything up. Brains, you can go ahead and end the recording, and we will move on to other things for the night.
All right, last chance. Anything else?
Love you all a long time.
Yeah.